All right, guys, let's start this up again. So again, write down in the comments if you want direction or what you want to learn more about. Practice with me when we do this every day. Not going to start a timer today because I want to just hit a couple things and make sure we get them. And if you're watching at this point, you're willing to go up to 10 minutes anyway, right? So before we begin, remember our 3 core concepts you got to keep in the back of your head, right? The things that we want to always remember when we're sword fighting that we're starting with now. Depending on how long you've been working with me, you might have different concepts. But the 3 I'm working on, that I'm working on with my sword students, is we got to make sure we lead with the edge. Lead with the edge. You got to make sure you lunge, parry, recover, right? Parry before you recover. And remember that with all of your parries, we have that step back, right? So every time we're parrying, we are also taking a step back as we parry. So lead with the edge. Step back when you parry. Lunge, parry, recover. My daughter's come to help us today. Hold on, Rips. Let me see. Let's put that one right there. Okay. Okay, watch out, baby. I don't want to hit you with a sword, okay? Come on over here. Yeah, thank you. Come on. Good girl. Go show Mom. All right, ready? En garde. Let's get our legs a little warm. Advance. Remember that emphasis. Feel that balance. Am I getting too narrow? I don't like that. I want to be a little wider. It's the 5-minute practice, right? Get those emphasis. Advance. Advance. Retreat. 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 From the side. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Cross forward. Boom, boom. Hopefully your couch doesn't mess you up that bad. Cross back. Boom, boom. From the front. Cross forward. Remember that brief moment back, right? Where we're off balance, you have to transition through that one fast. Same thing in that oblique movement, right? When I'm here, I have a brief moment where my balance is compromised. So I want to pivot over swiftly. Make sure you make that swift transition when you're working on this footwork. Get there slow till you feel smooth with it. Then you'll be fast. Got it? Okay, I'm going to walk through all our parries. And then I got asked on a couple pointers with the bind, and I'll show you a little bit on the game before we leave. So, we're going to just walk through every parry. En garde. Parry 1. My hand comes, my blade angle, the true edge, right? True edge. My angle comes across that center line, making a wall of steel on the weak side of my body, right? From my en garde, parry 2. I'm going to edge a line up as I crescent slightly, coming above my head, tip on one hip, pommel on opposite hip. En garde, parry 3. Now from a low guard, I have to crescent through my center line, and I'm going to bring my edge through it as well. Now I'm making a wall of steel on my strong side, right? En garde, parry 4. Again, leading with the edge, right? I'm going to bring that edge through my center line to the offside of my body, just my hip, not out here, that's a mistake, right? Just there. My offhand intercepting one. En garde, parry 5. Now, again, from a high guard, you got to get that crescent. From a low guard, similar crescent. I'm going to crescent through, edge a line up, over my head. Notice I'm taking step backs with my parry. Practice what we want to be, what we want to do when we go out there, right? Practice how you want it to work. En garde, parry 6. Now again, from a high guard, I'm just going to angle my edge out. Make sure my hand comes in line to intercept the disengage. Boom. From a low guard, 2 options. I'm going to crescent up, right? See that crescent, edge alignment out. Option 2, if you've been working on this with me, you want the quicker parry where we're going to use the false edge, snapping our entire arm up into that alignment. Hand goes to the same spot. Parry 6. En garde. Parry 7. Now I'm in a low guard, so I'm already in 7. There's times I'll use this to either get around my blade or around my opponent's blade, something like that. But I'll show you from a high guard first. Parry 7, crescenting inside of my body. I end at my knee level. Boom. Leading with the edge. Leading with the edge. All right. And if you're already in a low guard, what if I have to step in and bind your blade, right? So I'll show you the opposite, stepping in, coming around into that 7 anyway, right? 7, on guard, parry 8, cross body low, parry 4, parry 8, parry 7, parry 6. They're the same parry, just one's high, one's low, right? Remember that. On guard, from a high guard, 8, on guard, parry 9. Remember, getting that edge into that parry. 5, 9. So you have one for either side, right? All right. Walk through our parries. I'm going to link them all together just so we have a quick one. Parry 1, parry 2, parry 3, parry 4, parry 5, parry 6, parry 7, parry 8, parry 9. Right? Work on all those parries. And remember, with each one, that step back, which is a parry in and of itself. Parry 10. Don't be there when the attack comes. All right, we worked on our parries together. Now I'm going to go over the comment section I got. So we went over the bind, right? Now, one of the comments was, I'm having trouble getting my distance right. And, you know, we'll do a distance practice maybe next video. But here's what I want you to think about. Now, I changed my angles. Now I got the broom facing the camera a little better. Hopefully you can see that. So again, if I'm facing a right-handed opponent, right? And I'm right-handed. I'm always, right? Out of range. Always out of range. Now, when I begin my advance in, I'm going to get that step. Now, we worked on in an earlier video the difference between a standard advance and a ghost step. Your range will be different than mine because of your leg length, because of your arm length, because of your sword length, right? Practice variation to make sure you understand your own body always, right? So you can figure out what that step needs to look like for you. I want you to practice this with just an advance away, right? But if you're doing this in practice, concepts, right? We use concepts, we don't learn moves. If you are seeing this opening and you know you're more than an advance away, watch my back foot. I can ghost step in instead of an advance, right? I can ghost step, and now I'm farther than a regular advance would have taken me, so I can get that distance, maintain my balance and footwork, still escape if things go wrong, right? Anyway, back to this. So, this far away, I'm going to, and again, practice this slow so you have it. I'm going to step in, and as I step in, my blade comes, and this is for bind in 7, right? Making that 7 motion. I'm going to touch my opponent's blade, coming around to the extension. Touch, come around to the extension. Now, the arm and my broom's a little wobbly. You know, we worked with what we got. But important note when I'm doing this, I'll show you without the broom just so you can see my arm motion. When I step in and begin this motion, my blade comes over. My arm does a little bit of movement, right? It's not all arm and it's not all wrist. The two have to snake, right? Think of that. The two have to snake around my opponent's blade. Because remember, initial reaction for most fighters, good fighters will do other things. That's why we have other plans. But most fighters, when they have pressure on their blade, their instinct is resist. They push back. A bind and a game are designed... What's up, baby? Oh, you want me to help you with that one real quick? Sure. Good girl. Thank you. A bind and a game are based on this principle, that the second my opponent feels steel or feels pressure, they will give counter pressure. And I know that sounds silly, but it works very well because this is the instinct of people, right? So again, outer range, remember that snake, right? That snake motion, that snake motion. I'll show you from the side. And my blade is in front of me. This is another like common mistake we make, and that's why I showed you in the last video from the side, that we'll kind of like cheat ourselves. We'll hold the sword here because that's lighter or it's easier. We get to incorporate more synergistic muscles, things that'll help. You don't want to work on that. Remember, this is exercise. You're getting a skill that you don't inherently have using a body mechanic that's 100% natural. None of these moves I show you are going to show you a way to use your body that's going to go against its mechanics. This is very ergonomic and follows the way your body likes to move. All right? So again, from the side. My arm is in front of me. Look, it's about that far. You should be practicing about that far. My low guard, my high guard, they're still about that far. Right? I am not adjusting this when I fight in a low guard. My mechanics, my core mechanics remain the same. Anyway, when I make that coming over motion, look, it's not all arm. I'm not trying to arm it over. It's not all wrist, and I'm all the way back here. I'm in front of me. I reach out with my sword, gain the initial, begin my extension, and lunge. Got it? So again, with the sword in front of me, I step in, begin my initial, touch, around, get to the extension. If I get this far, I begin the lunge, right? Now I'm going to bind in 6 to show you the same concept, because maybe that's the one you're struggling with. Maybe bind in 7 feels more natural, and it's okay. That's how it goes. Got to make sure we watch out for the wee ones. You've got Princess Peach. Ripley, go show Mom Princess Peach. She wants to see her. Mom's a champ. On guard. Now, bind in 6, right? So I'm facing my opponent. They have their blade on me. I want to get underneath their blade. I'm showing you from a high guard. Same move works from low guard, right? Boom. Same move works from high guard. I'm going to come underneath my opponent's blade this time because I'm binding them away from me, right? So, again, tip to tip. I'm that far away when I begin. I advance in, boom, and I do my crescent under. And when I get to the bottom, I begin the pressure. If they let me get this far, I can continue my lunge. They will miss me, in case they decide something, right? And I will stab them, usually. But again, watch that mechanic. If I miss, very likely I am moving my arm to come back. Very likely I am moving my arm to come back. It's closer to me now. I'm not reaching out. That's away from me. That's still very far away, right? I'm not reaching out. That's away from me. That's very far away. I'm reaching. It's a long game, right? I put a big sword in my hand so I didn't have to get close. I'm just going to hit you with this thing. Ta-da! So one more time. Ready? Hold on a second, baby. Let me show them the move, okay? Watch. Out of range. Bind in 7, right? I'm going to do them from low. Bind in 7. Again, see that range maintains the same, right? And now my opponent has a harder time seeing my range because I went to a low guard. Advance in and come around my opponent's blade. Advancing in, boom, beginning the motion. Get that far, feel them still connected. Remember, play by feel. Play by feel, that's the other one we were supposed to mention. Begin the extension, lunge. Worry about my broom. Same move for 6, out of range. Low guard, right? I'm going to enter range following the same mechanics. And as I do, I come underneath my opponent's blade, begin the pressure, the extension. If I get that far, I'm going to continue. All right. Going to do a quick concept on gain because I don't want to use up all our time. Ta-da! And then we'll do more tomorrow. Okay, on guard. The gain concept, right? I showed you this bind. You stick it and you lunge. You stick it and you lunge, right? Gain is the idea of forcing your opponent's blade out, getting a lock on their sword. This one, again, concept, right? It's concept. So I'm just going to show you how to execute the concept, and then you work on it. We'll work on it more in other situations. But conceptually, remember your leverage points, right? Feeble, forte, we call them those for a reason, right? The weak part of my blade, the strong part of my blade. I want to get mostly my strong on mostly their weak. People screw this up, and they think, like, I got to have the base on their tip. Don't do that. That doesn't work. Their tip is too maneuverable, and your base is too connected to you. You're too close, right? You want to get mostly forte on mostly feeble. That's what you're looking for from even in the bind, right? These same moves are going to end up pulling off similar. This concept doesn't change. out of range, when I enter range, and I'm just going to show you bind in 4 for right now because it's easy, I'm going to step in and get that initial contact, but instead of making a parry, right, see how I'm guiding their blade away, I'm gaining my angle and forcing their sword out, right? Similar, maybe you see it easier in 3, where you force their blade out, right? Getting this initial force, this lock out, and we'll go over this more when I'll have to set up a better situation or borrow my son to show you guys. But, because I don't like how this is working for the game. I'm not getting enough of the concept translated over. So I'll do that one again more later. But think about that. Think about your stronger part on their weaker part, committing to that wall of steel line. That wall of steel line, right? Okay. Have fun, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.